Hi, I'm Miriam. I'm a student at Carleton University and founder of the Youth Minute, and this is my turn to talk.
Well, welcome, Miriam, to the Youth Ottawa podcast studio. Is this your first podcast?
Yeah, thank you so much. It is my first guest.
Very cool. I love it when that happens. I think people have started to really see this initiative that you've started. Maybe you want to start with a little bit about yourself, like, what's your background? Where'd you grow up? And tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so my family were actually immigrants to Canada. We're originally from Azerbaijan, and I was actually born in the US, but I never lived there. So I grew up in Ottawa, in Barhaven, my entire life. Yeah, it's been really interesting. So I'm studying management at Carleton University under commerce, and it's been really interesting trying out new things. And I'm really glad that the initiative is starting to gain some traction.
What year are you in? And specifically, like, why did you decide to study what you're studying at Carleton?
So I just wrapped up my third year, and I initially started out in finance, and it's been an interesting journey. So starting out in finance, I thought that's what I loved, and I did love it at the time. And I started out with finance because in high school I did the junior achievement program where I was VP finance on our little team with a company called Pocket Pets. And then I sort of transitioned to realizing that while I do love business, I love the more creative side of business where I can work with people and I'm sort of people facing and I can try a bunch of different things. So I ended up in management where I was also randomly given the opportunity to be the president of the Management Association at Carleton. So I took that on and I ended up really loving HR and management and now I work in the field.
So you say randomly we're given that. Like, explain the story behind that.
Yeah, so it was a really funny story because I had attended an event that the Management Association was holding at the end of my first year. And it was an event to wrap up the year. It was just a paint night. And I met the president there who said that his entire team was graduating and they needed everybody. So they needed new roles in finance and marketing. And I was in finance. So I said, okay, I'm going to apply for VP finance. So I did. And the Google form asked, would you be interested in being president? And I said yes, only because I was trying to show that I'm ambitious and I take initiative.
Not that you really wanted it.
No, honestly, I didn't think of it at all. I just thought that that's something everybody would do to show that they take initiative. They're out there. And then he asked to set up a call and we did. And he asked if I would actually like to be president because they're looking for that position first and foremost. Really thought about it and I ended up saying yes. And I was lucky that I wasn't thrown right into the president role by myself. I actually had a co-president, Carissa, and we had a meeting to sort of get to know each other. And things really clicked right away because she preferred to do more of the internal work while I preferred the more external. So we had this really great balance. And I was really lucky that I ended up with her since I was really intimidated at the whole process in general, being a president for the first time, but it went great. And then I sort of transitioned into more of a management role from there.
Now, you talked about being nervous of like taking on something that's maybe outside of your comfort zone, being the president of this new thing. Is that something that you think, a lot of other young people struggle with or are experiencing? And does that have any sort of tie into why you created the Youth Minute?
Yeah, 100%. I think youth, especially our first time in university, our first time taking on executive roles within the club. I mean, having a president title is a bit intimidating. And I think it's really intimidating to sort of put yourself out there and get into all these things where you're expected to almost have these experiences before you graduate so that you can take it into the workplace. It's a really competitive environment and you have to set yourself apart in some ways. So I think a lot of youth, including myself, were very intimidated at that point, starting out in our careers, not sure what to take on, how much is too much, am I doing the right thing, what if I change my mind? And so all these questions were sort of in my head and I'm sure in a lot of other youth's head as well. So it definitely had an impact on why I started the Youth Minute. It's sort of an unintimidating way to put yourself out there and have a platform, talk about yourself for the first time, maybe for a lot of people. So that was really my goal with it.
And since you've started it, like it's been, what, about 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah.
So it's still pretty new. How many young people have you featured and what's the response been like?
Yeah, so right now I'm really lucky to have a lineup of participants. Things have gotten a tiny bit overwhelming since I am a one-woman show right now.
How big is the lineup right now?
I think there's about 20 people
Okay.
waiting to be featured. Yeah. So forgive me if it's not happening right away. But yeah, I've really just been surprised at how many people are really willing to participate and who are honored to be thought of and to be featured. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, but it is a really new organization, a new initiative for me, and taking it on as a founder has been a lot. Yeah, we're just hoping to grow and expand.
So when you talk about growth, like where do you see this initiative going? Is it going to predominantly be a feature of a young person? Is it going to evolve into something different? Talk about that.
Yeah, it's been a lot of thought, I think. And my priority is to be really intentional with how I approach growth and what I want to do with it. I think my main priority is just to be as adaptable as possible, especially with everything going on in the world and how quickly youth are adapting and how flexible these new generations are. So I think approaching it from that perspective is really helpful. But apart from the features, I'm hoping to get into the podcast space and really go beyond what I can do with each individual feature. Since everybody is just so happy and grateful to be featured, I really want to utilize their passion and their ambition to go a step further.
So you've said that now is this predominantly you're the founder, but do you have like a big team that are helping you with this? Explain the back end of
Right now, I have zero team apart from myself. I've actually utilized AI a lot in my processes to help me think of templates and have things ready, schedule posts so that it's sort of like my personal assistant in a way.
Very smart.
Yeah, otherwise it'd be 10 times harder to do everything myself. But I am actually looking for new voices to sort of bring into the organization new perspectives and as much diversity in the youth community as I can get. Sort of create this group of perspectives and voices that I can go to when I need support. And I think it'd be great to even include high school students as volunteers who can, really bring their own ideas and expand from those. So I'm really open and flexible, and I'm hoping that we can go beyond just on the executive side of things.
So I hear that as maybe a call to action too, right? For those listening to this, what sort of roles do you see? Like you mentioned, like, ideas, advisory committee, outreach, but what else could young people help that maybe want to get involved, and how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, for sure. I think especially as we keep growing, since the initiative has gained a lot of traction so far, I think there's no limit to the amount of roles that could be possible. If someone has an idea and says, "Hey, I want to be a content creator," I'd love to take them on. I'd love to take on any role that somebody thinks would be beneficial to the Youth Minute, especially since it's student led. I really want to be open to their ideas and their voices. The best way to reach me is always through LinkedIn, since the platform is primarily on LinkedIn right now. So either through the Youth Minutes LinkedIn or my personal LinkedIn. I'd love to set up a call or a coffee chat with anybody who's willing and interested. I think it'd be a great step, and just to see how many people actually want to contribute to the event itself.
I think you're going to get a lot of help. I can see that happening for you. One of the things you've mentioned that you're interested in is like the creative side of business and management and HR. You talked about culture. You mentioned the organization that you're helping and working with, and potentially could be working for in the future after school. Talk a little bit about what you've done there and been involved in, and then translate that to like what kind of culture do you think we need in Ottawa around supporting young people?
Yeah, so right now I'm an intern on the People and Culture team at Canada's Drug Agency, and I've actually returned. So I did an internship with them last summer, and then they brought me back to be a part-time intern, and now I'm returning this summer as well. So I'm really excited to stay with them. I think that was my first corporate experience, and it's just been a great way for me to open up and discover the real world and what I can do as a corporate employee, contributing to a real organization where things are actually real and have accountability. And the culture there is just beyond amazing. I've been able to grow, and my managers have really made it a point to allow me to try as much as I want, to really put myself out there and learn what do I love and what do I not love, what am I good at, and it's just been really great, and I'm so grateful for that experience. But so what I did in the summer was different than what I did working part time. Working part time, I'm primarily focused on research topics, where I worked with the VP of the department, come up with topics, and he was just really amazing with allowing me to have a voice in what topics were selected. He knows that I attend a lot of events and I have these interesting courses that I'm taking that could really benefit the organization, especially as a youth voice. So he really helped me in having a voice in those conversations. What topics do we select? What do we dive deep on? And a lot of times those reports ended up with the CEO. So it really did show me what kind of an impact I can have. And that's definitely a culture that I think is needed in Ottawa. We have so many talented youth, and I'm always meeting these incredible artists, engineers, business students, and just these visionaries that I think really need a platform and a space where they can show what they do, show what they love. And yeah, so in a way, the Youth Minute came from a real just place of love and
Right.
hope for the new generation of youth.
I love that. That's so inspiring, and I totally agree. I think there's a lot of young people that are just waiting to contribute in the way that you have at your internship. But it sounds like that culture is really great at ensuring that they're getting as many ideas of like the brains around the table and empowering you, right? And when I think about that word empower, it's really motivating you to try things and to not be afraid of bringing an idea forward that in many cases might actually be taken up by the CEO and implemented. So that's amazing. I think you're doing an amazing work. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with or the audience watching this in terms of what you're doing or how they can help?
Yeah, for sure. I think if I had a message for youth in general, it would just be that you need to always put yourself out there, no matter what sort of internal feelings you may have that are holding you back, whether that be internal or even external. I think a lot of us are intimidated. A lot of us are scared, especially with everything going on in the world and how fast things are changing. AI is coming in and we're unsure. I think there's just a lot of uncertainty. Being a youth is really our weapon that we have right now that we can use to our advantage, where we can go and we can bring these ideas, we can change the perspectives of successful people, CEOs. And I think really using that to our advantage is something that we need to take on right now. And yeah, I would love for these types of people, if this sounds like you, if this sounds like something that you want to do, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would love to meet with you. I would love to set up a call to really talk about what you can bring and what we can do. The Youth Minute is meant to support the youth out there. So please reach out to me and I would love to meet with you. Thank you so much for having me.
And that's a wrap.